What if the year you expected sunny skies and warm breezes turned into a year of snow, starvation, and spooky stories? Sounds like a plot twist in a fantasy novel, right? Nope, it's history. Welcome to 1816, the year without a summer. A time when a single volcanic eruption turned the entire planet into one giant mood killer. Before we dive into the chaos, let's rewind to where it all began. On the Indonesian island of Sumbawa in 1815. Mount Tambora erupted in April, and this wasn't your average fireworks display. This eruption was so colossal it ranks as a VEI 7 on the Volcanic Explosivity Index. Translation? Think of it as a volcanic apocalypse. Tambora ejected an estimated 160 cubic kilometers of debris into the atmosphere. To put that in perspective, that's like filling up 64 million Olympic swimming pools with ash. The eruption caused a volcanic winter, where ash and sulfur dioxide blocked sunlight. Temperatures dropped by as much as 3 degrees Celsius worldwide. Doesn't sound like much? Well, it was enough to ruin crops, disrupt ecosystems, and send people into full-blown panic mode. In Asia, monsoons failed, leading to widespread famine. In India, cholera outbreaks became rampant. Europe? It wasn't just a bad year, it was a disaster. In Europe, the cold and constant rain destroyed harvests. Grain prices skyrocketed, and people resorted to eating tree bark, moss, and anything remotely edible. Bread riots broke out across countries like France and Switzerland. One eyewitness wrote, "We are desperate, there is nothing left to eat, we shall all starve, cheery, isn't it?" Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, North America wasn't faring much better. A mysterious dry fog settled over the land. It dimmed sunlight to the point where people had to use lanterns in the middle of the day. Crops froze in June, snow fell in July, and by August farmers were scratching their heads, wondering if the end times had arrived. Amid this chaos, a young writer named Mary Shelley was vacationing or trying to near Lake Geneva. Constant rain kept everyone indoors, so Shelley and her friends decided to hold a spooky story contest. Shelley penned Frankenstein, arguably inspired by the bleak, apocalyptic vibes of the year. A monster born from the darkness, kind of fitting, don't you think? The gloomy atmosphere also influenced art. Painters like J.M.W. Turner captured haunting landscapes, and poets like Lord Byron wrote about despair and doom. Nature wasn't just a muse, it was the villain. And then there was fashion. People bundled up in extravagant layers to survive the cold, and oversized bonnets became all the rage. Because if you're freezing, why not look fabulous while doing it? So, what exactly caused this chilly nightmare? Scientists point to sulfur dioxide released by the volcano, which mixed with water vapor to form a reflective layer in the stratosphere. This global sunblock cooled the planet, disrupting weather patterns for years. Tambora essentially turned the Earth into a snow globe, minus the fun. For comparison, the 1883 eruption of Krakatoa was only half as powerful as Tambora. Yep, Tambora was that big. One farmer in Vermont reportedly gave up on growing crops altogether and jokingly planted ice cubes instead. Hey, if life gives you frost, make frozen lemonade? And people at the time had no idea what was going on. Some blamed sunspots, others thought it was divine punishment, and a few just accepted that the weather had gone rogue. Eventually the volcanic particles settled, and the Earth warmed up again. But the year without a summer remains a chilling reminder, pun intended, of how one event can ripple across the globe. It brought hardship, creativity, and a whole lot of muddy boots. If nothing else, it gave us Frankenstein and some unforgettable historical trivia. Speaking of unforgettable, next time we'll dive into the day it rained meat, a story so bizarre even the emus would be jealous. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. What's your theory on the year without a summer? Could you have survived it? Let us know below.